Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! I'm a college student, and like all the other college students, I'm poor. I don't get to do a lot of nice things. However, sometimes I will treat myself. I'm a huge fan of bubble tea. One day, my friend and I went to a bubble tea cafe near our campus to celebrate the end of midterms. This particular cafe is a favorite of mine because I know the manager. We're on a first-name basis and she'll occasionally give me a free drink. Just because. I was hoping to see her again, but a different woman was there. Sherry. I went up to the register and placed my order, asking for less ice. Sherry's eyes bugged out and said, "We don't do that here." I was surprised because all the bubble tea cafes do that. I repeated my request, asking her if she could do it for me anyway, even if it wasn't an option on the machine. She cut me off and said no. I was speechless. This cafe generally had great customer service. I paid, and then my friend ordered. Sherry worked at a snail's pace. Instead of making multiple drinks at a time, she made each drink individually. I watched her make my drink, and to my surprise, she added extra ice to my drink. After 15 minutes, our orders were finally finished, and my friend and I left. We headed back to campus, and it wasn't until we were in the dorms that I tasted my drink. To my surprise, my drink was incredibly diluted and the bubbles were overcooked. This bubble tea was a waste of my money. I was so angry that I made a Yelp account and posted a long detailed review about why my bubble tea was terrible. By chance, my friend took me back to that cafe. I saw my favorite manager and she told me that Sherry had been fired because of my Yelp review, along with other customers' complaints. I asked the manager if they had a job opening, and they did. I started the week after, working what used to be Sherry's shift. On my first shift, I noticed that you can input the customer's ice preference. Before I take you to our next insane story, I would like to thank you again for subscribing. Yesterday we scored around 300 subs. I really appreciate the support, guys. Please, if you haven't subscribed yet, press that button. It is a great way to push this channel ahead. Thank you. Hi again. If you read my first story, you know a little about my aunt who is crazy and rude. But this is the first time I have ever felt real hatred for her. Background. So last weekend I had my friend because we haven't seen each other in 2 years. Now my friend had an accident where she had split her head open and had to get staples in it. Her mom was and still is abusive, and she started having seizures soon after the staples. She didn't want to come over, but I begged her to because I missed her so much. I wanted to spend the weekend with her, so she came over with almost everything she needed. Almost. Now she had her meds for her seizures, but also had a nose spray thing for if she had a cluster, back-to-back seizures with no response, and only had one. She was supposed to bring two but didn't. Also, my aunt was in my area because one of her friends had just had a baby and was having a party for her new baby girl. Note: the friend was a darling and her baby was an angel. My aunt is a total witch. In the background. Now this takes place last weekend on Saturday. She got here on Friday and would go home Sunday. We were hanging out and chatting like girls do, and just enjoying our time together. Well, I get a call from an unknown number, and I'm about to let it ring out, cause my gut said not to trust it when my friend picks it up and answers it. Something she does for me when I'm too far from my phone or busy, and she puts it on speaker. I hear my aunt's voice and decide to listen. Hi.
Hi, how have you been? Who answered the phone?
Hi, aunt, that's just my friend, I say.
Oh, okay. Well, my friend is having a party for her baby and I wanted you to come and celebrate with us.
Me, knowing my friend has asthma? Oh, well, I would, but my friend is here and I don't think she'd want to be in a big room full of people. My aunt, a bit snippy now,
Well, I didn't invite her, did I? I invited you.
I know, but I can't just leave my friend here without me. That's just rude. And now she whines while drawing out my name.
I need you there. Cousin will be there too, and she wants to see you.
I roll my eyes at this. My friend covers the phone speaker and says, I can go. I have my mask. So I confirm with my friend that she's okay going and tell my aunt I will go if my friend can come with me.
Fine. Make sure to bring a present.
She then hangs up and I now have to text her asking when the party is and where is it. She gives me the information and tells me that it's a girl. So I go upstairs, get an old gift I have, and put a little hand-knit diaper bag someone from my baby shower gave me. I never use it because it's too big for me and I keep it in good condition. It would make me super happy if someone having kids used it. So the party time rolls around and me and my friend are driven to the party by my mom and go in with our masks on. There is 2 rooms, one for the adults to talk and hang without their masks, and the room where the presents are and the baby. Outside that room, a sign that said masks mandatory beyond that point was standing in bright red colors. I go over and place my present, then we head over to a table and chill while a few other kids our age come over. I see my cousin and we go and chat with each other while my friend assures me that she will be fine at the table. Now by this point she had already had 2 seizures at home and a cluster the night before, so she had no more spray. So I'm talking with her and drinking some juice when I hear people screaming. We run over and I see my friend seizing on the ground and people trying to get her onto her back. I cut in and lay her head on my shoulder and turn her on her side while telling everyone to stand back. Then I hear my aunt screeching at me about how my friend is ruining the party by spazzing on the floor. I tell her she's seizing and she will be okay in a moment. And this is when my aunt decides she's doing it for attention and kicks my friend in her stomach with her winter boots on. I start screaming at her to stop and I'm on the verge of tears while shielding my friend. My aunt keeps kicking and then tries to grab her by the hair while yelling at her to stop being a drama queen. I punch my aunt and tell her to get away. She is not conscious and can't respond. My aunt falls back and some of the guests grab her while someone calls the police. By this time I see my friend has stopped but isn't responding. I start to panic and pray that this isn't a cluster because she hates the hospital and would be scared if she woke up there. Well, we try to wait it out but eventually we call an ambulance. When everyone gets there, my aunt is arrested for assault on a disabled person. They kept everyone separated but after an hour my friend was let go by the paramedics now that she was okay. And my cousin couldn't stop apologizing for her mother, to me, and to my friend. I haven't talked to my aunt since and I don't plan on ever talking to her again. What she did was too bad and dangerous to my friend's health and even got her arrested. Edit to answer some questions. Yes, I completely cut my aunt out of my life and I do not ever plan on making amends. She's in prison for assault and harassment of a minor and disturbing the peace. She will also be serving community service for a while. Her husband and daughter are now scared to live with her and are staying with my uncle, husband's brother, while he debates divorce. If he does, it's likely he'll get primary custody of my cousin and get to keep the house since she doesn't work. My friend is completely fine besides a new hatred for my aunt. She was wearing 2 very thick coats that absorbed the blow and didn't even know she was getting kicked. A bit of backstory. I'm a 28-year-old American guy who's been living in Southwest Germany for a little over 2 years with my German wife. Though my German isn't the best, I understand just about everything when I'm paying enough attention. We live in an apartment with a small parking lot for guests, and each apartment has 1 garage big enough to fit 1 car in each. If a guest comes to visit, the size of the parking lot makes it very difficult or near impossible to get in and out of the garage. This is all important for later. At the time I was working at a small cafe about a 10-minute drive from our apartment. My job was extremely strict with working hours, so I was in at 7 a.m. and out the door and in my car at 4:30 p.m. Monday through Fridays. After about 3 months of working there, I noticed every day on my drive home that the same blue car with a black stripe down the middle was either in front of me or behind me every day up until I parked at my apartment to where he would continue down the road. No biggie, I just assumed there was someone with the same type of work schedule that lived in the same small town as me. After a while, I noticed every time this guy was behind me, he would take any opportunity to overtake me, even though there were always about 20 to 30 cars directly in front of me going the same speed every single day. It was a two-way road with one lane going each way, all the way to where I lived. I thought nothing of it. I knew I was a slower driver since I didn't fully understand the German rules of the road yet, and didn't want to take the chance of getting a ticket or worse. So I was used to people passing me even though I never went under the speed limit. Anyways, this went on for a while, with him still passing me almost every day most of the time, cutting me off, making me slam on the brakes. On one particular day, he was extremely impatient and aggressive, to where he almost sideswiped my car. He ended up bailing from the attempt and fell back behind me. At this point, I am mad, but I hold back my anger and continue to drive normally. About 5 minutes later, I'm almost home, driving up a pretty steep, winding road with very tight turns. As I'm near the first bend, I see a man on a bicycle on my side of the road. So I veered to the middle of the road to give him some room while I pass. And I could see there was no oncoming traffic. At this exact moment, the jerk tries to pass me again, almost hitting me again. I couldn't move to my right or I would have hit the man on the bike. And this jerk again bails from his obviously idiotic and dangerous attempt of passing me again, and he continues behind me. I finally got to my apartment, and when I parked for some reason, I looked in my mirror, and who did I see parked behind me? You guessed it, the jerk. He looks mad. I don't know what this guy plans on doing, and I have no intention of finding out. So I get out of my car and instantly get to the back of my car and grab the tire iron. But keep it hidden so he doesn't see it or think I'm going to attack him. He gets out of his car to where I say to him in my broken German, "Can I help you?" And he immediately scoffs and asks, "Where are you from, scheiß Ausländer?" For those who don't know what that means, it's a very rude and disrespectful way of saying foreigner. Something like freaking foreigner. I ask him, does it matter where I'm from? I live here now. He scoffs again and starts a whole speech about how people like you are the problem with this country and I shouldn't even be here, and how you should be thanking me since it's my tax money paying for you to be here. Side note, I came here legally, and between me and my wife's jobs, we live pretty comfortably with no government aid. I stop him in the middle of his rant and say, "You don't know anything about me. And what does any of this have to do with you driving like a jerk?" At this point, it looks like he's seeing red, and continues to scream obscenities at me for about 30 seconds. He's suddenly interrupted by a loud "hey," where a man wearing a helmet runs up to him and slams him against his car so hard it cracks his window with his back. I am so confused for a bit while this man is pinning him to his car, absolutely enraged while screaming at this jerk, and then it clicked to me. This is a man on the bike. I didn't understand everything being said, but it was something along the lines of, "You almost killed me. What the hell is your problem?" The shouting went on for about 2 minutes until the man on the bike forced the jerk into his car and made him drive off. As much as I wished, this isn't the end of the story. About a month goes by, and on a Saturday my wife and I come home from shopping. As we turn into our apartment, parking the only way into our garage is blocked by a car. As we turn into our apartment parking, the only way into our garage is blocked by a car. The car, blue with a black stripe. My wife notices that I'm more mad than I should about this, because we had this situation before with other cars. Everyone that lives in this apartment is very nice, and we all have each other's phone numbers in case of an emergency, or for this kind of situation. It is normal to receive a text from a neighbor at least once a week asking if we have a guest parked in the way. We don't really have friends in this area, so it was never our guests parking there. So my wife starts to send out a text asking whoever has a guest if they could kindly move the car. While she's doing this, I am calling the landlord who has told us multiple times if someone blocks our way to the garage to call her so she can call a tow truck. Obviously, nobody in our building does this, because it's usually not a big deal and a simple text could solve it. I tell her what's going on and give her the details of the car. I hear her let out a sigh. Ah, him again? Okay, I will deal with it. And she hangs up. Apparently, this man has given another neighbor of ours problems before. I tell my wife not to send out a text and that we should go get a coffee instead. There is a cafe directly in front of our apartment parking. My wife looks confused but says okay. We're sitting in the outdoor part of the cafe with a clear view of the apartment parking, while I explain to her the whole story of this guy and what he did last month, because I never told her about it before. Eventually I see a tow truck in the apartment parking and point it out to my wife, and she almost can't contain her laughter. I wasn't able to hear much, but eventually the jerk notices his car was being towed and ran outside his car, which was already on the truck. All I heard was a lot of screaming, but didn't understand anything. The truck driver eventually left with his car, and the jerk was just standing there. He looked across the street and noticed my wife and I watching the whole thing. I smiled, waved and took a sip of my coffee. He walked back inside with utter defeat. I later found out that the jerk is the father of one of the girls who lives in the same building as me. She knocked at my door the next day and asked about the situation, in which I explained everything. Thankfully, she was very understanding and even apologized for her father's behavior. She also told me that this isn't the first time her father's anger got him in trouble. My wife, being the nicest person in the world, made her cookies later that week to show no hard feelings towards her. She laughed and told us her dad had to pay 400 euros to get the car back. She was actually pretty happy that her father got what was coming to him. After that, we actually became pretty good friends with her and her partner. Now every time that jerk comes to visit his daughter, he parks his car across the street and won't say a word to me. And as far as I know, he drives a different way home from work. Thank you for watching and see you next time.